y'all. I'm in the process of watching it. And so far, it's great. There's so much stuff that I didn't even know. Hope y'all enjoy the video.
I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. The same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that let you know to call your brother son. The story that just begun, the promise of what's to come. And I'ma remain a soldier till the war is won.
Welcome back to yet another video. You already know what's good. You already know what's real. You already know what's this. You already know what's that. And you already know how to come back with yet another video. And you already know what it's about. It's about the Janet Jackson documentary. Come on now. You already know I had to get through. You know, I'm a little late, but it's better late than never. I've been really busy lately. Things have been picking up for me like crazy lately. And yeah, it was definitely going to take me a while. So, but this is going to be the review of part 1 of the documentary. Y'all already know I had to come through. And let's get into it. So the documentary starts off with Janet going back to her hometown in Gary, Indiana. You know, she says she hasn't been there in a while, like a long time, and she goes on about something, and then she stops to look at the Jackson 5 mural that's down there, and she speaks about how much memory she has, you know what I'm saying, and she starts crying. She starts getting emotional at looking at her brothers on the mural, and she notices that everybody's looking up or somewhere, and Michael just looking back at the camera. Or, you know, at us, you know what I'm saying, says how nosy he was. And I thought, it broke my heart to kind of see that. It kind of showed me what kind of tone this documentary was kind of taking a little bit. Like, it kind of felt like it was a little sad, however, getting her chest off about a lot of things. That's how I kind of felt like this documentary was going to be about, based off of that introduction. As you can tell, you know, and they're in the car, and then him and Randy, right? Is it Randy or was it Jackie? Oh my god, yo, I'm not gonna lie. Call me a fake Jackson fan, but sometimes I be forgetting which one is which sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. No, it was Randy. It was Randy. Yeah, it was Randy. It wasn't Jackie. I'm tripping. So yeah, her and Randy's actually really a part of this documentary a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's really close to Janet. As you can tell, they've been together throughout a lot of this documentary. They're really close, and, you know, yeah, they've been like that ever since they were kids. So, they enter their childhood home all the way back in Gary, Indiana, and we actually see pictures. You know, they got some old Jackson family pictures in there. The furniture, a lot of that. I don't know if they replaced that at all, but, you know, they're in there. I thought it was nice to go in that home to see how it is now, you know what I'm saying, or 2017, wherever this was shot. I thought it was nice to go in there and see all of that stuff, you know what I'm saying, because it's like, to see where all this came from, it was very nice to see. It really was. It was very nice to see, because it was like 9 kids, all in that little home, and they all had to, you know, survive in some way, and they did, as you can tell. Katherine Jackson, the mother of Janet Jackson, gets interviewed, and I thought this was beautiful. She actually speaks about how they did it, like how could they do it, you know what I'm saying? How were they able to fit 9 kids, you know what I'm saying, in this one home? How were they able to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did y'all manage? How did y'all survive? And she's like, we did, you know what I'm saying? We just did, you know? And that's exactly what they did, because it was like a 2-bedroom home, but it was such a big family. I've always thought that myself. I'm here like, yo, that's such a small house. So, you know, she speaks on her, like, I got notes right here. Yeah, and I did it in you know, marker, so you know what you're gonna do. So she speaks on the life that they had in Gary, Indiana, and how dangerous it was, because Gary, Indiana's murder rate was horrible. You know, it's very dangerous. Joseph, the father, was very strict on keeping them safe. Always wanted them safe. Always wanted them safe. Always did. You know, and yeah, and he did. He was doing his job. He loved them very much. And we're gonna get to Joe. We're gonna get to Joe because there was a lot of things in this documentary that kind of surprised me, and kind of surprised me that I didn't hear this and heard this. You know what I'm saying? You guys get it. All right, and yeah. Then Joe wanted to find a way to kind of, I think he wanted to find them a way to kind of get them, you know, away from the danger, get them, you know, basically push them to success. You know what I'm saying? After, you know, Tito accidentally broke a guitar string, you know, and Catherine and was like, yo, before you whoop him or something like that. No, was it Tito? Before you, you know, do what you got to do, because he was mad about the guitar string. He's like, listen to him. He's really good. He's even better than you, Joseph. So, you know, he heard that, and of course they heard Michael singing. I don't think this was in the documentary, because I remember, I think Catherine was hearing Michael sing and realized that Michael should sing, you know what I'm saying? And they all had some kind of music element in them, and Joseph was like, Joseph was going to definitely push success. Joseph had a vision and eventually started pushing his kids to music. I hope I'm saying it right, you feel me? It's been a minute since I just watched it. So basically Joseph was pushing his kids to do music, and yeah. But there was another element, another kind of, you know, hurdle that they did have to jump through, and that was racism. Of course, the Jacksons was discovered in the 60s, and the 60s was, well, segregation, racism galore. You feel me? Like racism was at an all-time high back in the day, around that time when they got discovered. And, Janet was, she spoke about the racism back in the day, and they were often, get called racial slurs, you know what I'm saying? Say when a car was driving past and somebody would come out and just scream the N-word, you feel me? And it was, of course, it bothered them a lot. And there was apparently a petition in the neighborhood that they stayed at. And they would often try to get them run out of the neighborhood, you feel me? There was a petition to get them run out of the neighborhood. Like, it was that bad. At school, some of the teachers and the kids would touch their hair a lot, you know what I'm saying? Because it was different, you feel me? They weren't used to, a black person's hairstyle or the black person's texture. And they would kind of say some ignorant things, like they would touch your skin and say, does it come off? You feel me? It was so ignorant. And she was like, no, but does yours come off? You feel me? It was ignorant. You know what I'm saying? She often said that she didn't really have a lot of friends. You feel me? She had a few, but she did have her brothers and sisters that really kind of filled that void of friendship. Because they will always, treat each other like friends. You feel me? And play with each other like that. You feel me? And yeah. Al Sharpton was also speaking about the racism that the Jacksons endured and spoke about Joe. And Joseph was a hardworking man, you feel me? And, Al Sharpton, bro, I'm telling you, he's in everything. I swear, like, if it's anything black related, that man is there, you feel me? Like, that man is there. I don't know if he wants attention, or does he actually... You know what? I'm not even going to do... I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say that he wants... the best for black people. I'll just say that. Why not? That's all I'm going to say about that. So, we see the Jackson 5 audition tape for Motown. And we see Little Michael, You know what I'm saying? We see Randy, Jermaine, all of them in the background. They had like an all act for music. You feel me? Like they were really just they were really like they were really gifted at such a young age, and people were starting to take notice. You feel me? And yeah, they auditioned for Motown, as I just said. We see Questlove in the documentary, and Lee Daniels and Whoopi Goldberg. They were all speaking about the Jackson 5 and how alive it felt to have such young black talent like that skyrocket to success so quickly. You know what I'm saying? They felt like that they were just, you know, they were just amazing. You feel me? I don't know how else to say it. They held them up to such a high regard in this documentary. Like they felt saved in some way, it seemed like. But yeah, basically the Jackson 5 success goes up, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, there was a lot of love and dedication to Joe Jackson within this documentary, which is understandable because if it wasn't for Joe Jackson and his will to push his kids to success, there wouldn't be a Michael Jackson. There wouldn't be a Janet. There wouldn't be a Jackson 5, a LaToya, a Rebe, a J5. There wouldn't be a lot of, you know, there wouldn't be a lot of stuff. Yeah, and I'll say that too, a lot, because Michael brought in a lot to the music industry. Janet did as well. The whole Jackson family did. And that, if it wasn't because of him, you know what I'm saying, none of this would happen. There's a lot of dedication. You feel me? And they would never really understand how strict he was, because they just, Janet actually does say that she didn't really have the relationship she kind of saw with her father that other kids did. You know, like, and she kind of wanted that. You feel me? LaToya spoke on this as well. Michael did. We know that. And one thing I don't think I want to bring it up, but I'm going to anyway. The abuse, right? We didn't really hear anything about any abuse, any beatings or anything like that within this documentary like that. You feel me? And that was actually shocking that we didn't really hear about that. You know what I'm saying? We heard he was very strict. You feel me? He loved his kids. But we didn't hear about any of the abuse that we've heard in the past. Like, Janet actually did say that Joe didn't really abuse her. This is the past interview. But Joseph did slam Janet across the wall or something after she got out the tub. I believe it's been a minute since I've seen that documentary. And we've heard Michael's, you know, viewpoint. And I'm surprised we didn't hear that. Maybe it didn't happen as much as Michael exaggerated. Or did he exaggerate? Because I don't know why he would lie about that. Or Janet just decided to not include in the documentary. I mean, you know, but maybe that aspect possibly should have been spoke about. Or, you know what? Not even gonna say nothing. I just didn't know what that was. If that was going to be a part of the documentary or whatever. Well, they left it out, so I'll leave it out as well right now. They had parties too, you know what I'm saying, with like Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye, you know what I'm saying, around the time where they kind of wanted them to get out the neighbors wanted them to get out the neighborhood because of the parties. David Bowie was there, and he actually offered the Jackson kids drugs. It was like, you want to hit this? Actually move them like kind of away from where everything else was going on and kind of offer them some drugs, and they're like, nah, we're good. Because I'm pretty sure they know if Joe found out, yeah, David probably would have gotten that 2-piece. Okay, so we kind of move on to within the story of where she's going, and Janet, you know, when the brothers would go on tour and when they would kind of, you know, be busy with photo shoots, recording, you know, you name it. She often kind of felt alone sometimes. She kind of felt like she didn't fit in. You know, she kind of missed them, and she felt like she didn't really fit in to the Jackson family because I guess sometimes she didn't really feel like she was doing much. And you got her brothers doing all this, and I guess she kind of wanted to be with them or just heavily missed them. But eventually she did go on stage for the first time, in Las Vegas. And Janet would do shows, you know what I'm saying? At first, she was nervous, and that kind of goes for everybody. She got very nervous at first, and after she did her first show, and we get to see it in the documentary, after that, it was like nothing. Like, she was very used to it afterwards. Like, she was very much able to do everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, we see a montage of, you know, all of the, you know, a lot of the shows that she was doing. I thought it was nice. It was very nice to see that. She seemed to be very happy on stage with her brothers, Michael, Randy, you name it. Like, it seemed like that she had a great time up there. Yeah, Michael, and also when they would do like 2 or 3 shows, they would kind of do it 2 or 3 shows a day. Was it 3 shows a day? Was it? Whatever. Sometimes on breaks, they would actually sneak into the dirty shows, you feel me? Because they were in Las Vegas, you feel me? And they were the only kids doing shows in Las Vegas. And they would kind of sneak into like other buildings or other parts of the building, and they would kind of sneak in and see dirty shows with females with no tops on. They would see, you know, just dirty stuff, and they would sneak and go in there and watch those shows that they clearly weren't supposed to be watching. Michael, Randy, and Janet, you know what I'm saying, all 3 of them. They were like the 3 Stooges. They was all like close together like that. And, yeah. And, we get to, Good Times, you feel me? There might be things in this documentary I might be missing, you feel me? But I'm just giving you my thoughts, you feel me? But yeah. When they snuck, back to the sneaking in the shows part. They clearly weren't supposed to be doing that. I mean, you know, we did hear growing up, Michael was not really kind of the sexual kind of type. But he did speak about doing shows in clubs and with naked females around and stuff like that. He did speak about that like a while ago. So, you know, kind of comes together. With Janet and Michael stories. Janet gets the role of Penny in Good Times because they heard that Good Times was casting a young black female, and Joseph was like, you should audition, and that's what she did, and she got the role. Penny was an abused, but however, very lighthearted kid in the show because, like, bro, come on now, we all know Good Times. We all know Good Times. Like, I love Good Times growing up. Yeah, she gets the role, and she put on a great performance. Like, she put on a great performance. She was really out here, giving the best performance that she ever did. And Good Times was a very great outlet for her to get on the real big scene, you know what I'm saying, away from her brothers, like making her own name for herself. She did a great job with that. And the director loved it, you know what I'm saying, director loved it, and she was great, you feel me? Like, her role on Good Times, people still talk about that. People still talk about Good Times to this day. Good Times was a legendary show. You feel me? And I remember Good Times. I remember her story in the documentary. She actually remembers she developed her chest at a very young age, and they would kind of they wanted them to do things. They wanted Janet to kind of take her chest kind of like away a little bit, make him smaller. You feel me? And she, I remember hearing the story that they didn't want her to show her breasts like that. That sounds inappropriate. They didn't want her chest to really show. They would kind of do things to kind of suppress it a little bit. You feel me? Like, I don't know, like a sports bra. Or they'll do certain things like that to kind of suppress. Because, you know, she's a kid, and I guess kids aren't really supposed... They're not supposed to develop that young. And I guess that's what she was going through. And, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it would affect her. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, and that... Yeah. She spoke about that years ago, though. I remember hearing it. Okay, so we'll go to this part. Janet was one day playing in the studio, just playing around in a little studio at home, I guess. Or was it out? Yeah, whatever. At home, and she would kind of play around, singing little stuff here and there. She was just joking. She wasn't serious. And her dad, Joseph, heard it and told her she was going to sing. Yeah, told her she was going to sing and she was going to be an artist. And Joseph was like, yeah, you're going to sing. But Janet's like, no, I don't want to sing. I want to go to college for law. You know what I'm saying? But Joseph's like, nah, you finna sing. Basically said, Janet, shut that dream down real quick. Now, you're not going to college. You finna sing. Yeah, Joseph, like I said, he was very strict. Very strict. And that's the vision that he set out for her. Just like that. So, Janet was able to, able to get in the swing of things, started singing. And, and her first 2 albums drop. And, they didn't really have the success that she wanted, but she was thankful for the success it did have. You know what I'm saying? It was like her first 2 albums, it wasn't songs that she wrote, you feel me? But what they wanted her to sing, you feel me? Like, it wasn't really her vision. It was somebody else's visions that they had for her. You feel me? She didn't really have that much creative inputs into her first 2 albums. She was just told to sing them and boom, right? Like, even the album cover wasn't what she wanted. You know what I'm saying? And in the first album, she didn't even want her last name in it. She kind of just wanted her. But, that didn't go the route. So, she could tell that she kind of felt like she was being controlled in a way. Pun not intended. She kind of felt like that she didn't really have much say-so in her life. You know what I'm saying? This was around the time where she kind of felt like that she was molding into something that deserved much more, control. You feel me? Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, she felt like that she wanted to take care of her own life. She wanted independence. You feel me? And she was thinking about trying new things. She really was. Like, she was thinking about trying things that she wanted to do. Yeah, because, like, bro, her first 2 albums, it wasn't what she wanted. It was what somebody else wanted. She didn't even want to sing. She wanted to go to college. And all of this comes together full circle because we're getting to James DeBarge. James DeBarge was Janet's first husband, and she was very young at the time. She was like 18, right? You feel me? And as soon as she turned 18, she started to veer away from the entertainment industry. You know what I'm saying? She also started doing like fame, you know what I'm saying? And she didn't want to do fame. You know what I'm saying? She did it for her father. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, and she would make her debut on American Bandstand. And yeah, all this was going on. She was kind of unhappy. Right? She's kind of unhappy. Like, her manager, Joe, was just kind of, it didn't really seem like that she was in control. She didn't feel like she had independence. I know I'm about to go to her first husband, but I had to get a little topics out. You know what I'm saying? She did Fame too, which is a show she didn't really want to do. She was actually late a lot. You feel me? Because she just didn't care. Like, she had no problem with any of the people on stage, but she just didn't want to do it. She wasn't interested, but she did it for Joseph. But like I said, back to James DeBarge. Out of desperation to gain control over her own life, Janet secretly married James DeBarge. She went all the way up to Michigan in Grand Rapids to go see him, to come together and get married. Like, and it was at a very young age too. Very young age. And she got married secretly. Apparently they used to talk on the phone for a while as kids. They used to say a lot of personal things to each other. And they were very close because one of the other brothers, I forgot which one, was actually very attracted to LaToya. And I think LaToya got married to a DeBarge too. I think. And they met kind of that way. And they just became very close. And apparently this was going on for years. You feel me? Like, them two were close for like a year, for like years. Right? So, well, yeah. Drugs were in the conversation. Yeah, if anybody knows about the DeBarge family, you guys know about the drug portion of their family history. She would try her best to kind of be there for James. You feel me? Throughout the relationship, she would often kind of do things to kind of help James as much as possible because she really desperately cared for him. And sometimes he would end up kind of flaking on Janet a little bit. Like, apparently in the hotel, I think after they got married, James said, "I'll be right back," and left kind of Janet alone in the hotel for at least 4 hours, and she would do nothing but wait for him. And she felt alone because she was so young in a hotel by herself. You know, she was feeling some type of way. Which is understandable. So, James was, she was very addicted. And Janet actually spoke about how, I don't know what kind of tendency she has, but she kind of attracts men that, I guess, do drugs. And Janet used to wait for James to come and pick her up for hours. And sometimes Janet would be the one out looking for James. And yet it was tough because when drugs and substance abuse were in the conversation, it was always something that just left Janet just, kicked to the curb in some way. Because when she took his pills away, they would often kind of tussle and fight over them. And yeah, it was rough because that's a lot of people don't really, it's kind of a discussion that we don't really have in the industry about how, drugs can really affect people. I mean, we have the conversation, but I feel like it needs to get pushed even more, bro, because drugs actually ruin this relationship. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, drugs in the industry back in the day, yeah, they would tear you up. And they still do to this day. Janet did everything she could, but eventually just had to end the relationship. And that was the end of part 1. Janet eventually divorced James due to the substance abuse, and that was that. So, that was part 1. My thoughts on part 1 was it brings a lot of insight. A lot of it. It really gives a nice look about how personal Janet was when it comes to revealing stuff in this documentary. It gives us a lot of insight on who Janet Jackson was and the feelings that she was feeling at the time, the things she was going through, how people treated her. You feel me? Her relationship with her brothers as soon as they were just skyrocketing. It's a great insight. Great insight. I mean, I know there's things that I probably missed, but I did everything I could for right now. I mean, I don't think she ever spoke about the racism that she grew up going through. But here we are, you know what I'm saying? She just dove right into it. Things that I was my favorite topic though, throughout the entire documentary, I'm not gonna lie, was when she started speaking about wanting to gain independence, you feel me? Because, a lot of people, they know Janet, but they only know Janet from Michael. And I'm not gonna lie, that's how I was introduced to Janet Jackson, through Michael. And it's actually very nice and refreshing to kind of hear the things that she tried to do to kind of build her own name. You feel me? And she actually never stopped trying to build her own name. She consistently tried to. But some people will often kind of just, write her off as Michael's little sister. But that's for part 2. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, I rate this documentary a grade. I don't even know how to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. It was great. It was very personal. We get people, other people like Whoopi Goldberg and Questlove in this documentary, and Al Sharpton. Like, we get to see a lot of other people's insight on the Jackson family growing up, and you know, we actually hear Michael's voice in archival vocals. Same thing with Joe and James. James is still living. I guess he just didn't want to be a part of it. It seemed like a very honest work too. None of it really seemed sensationalized. You feel me? Like, none of it felt sensationalized. None of it felt exaggerated. None of it felt, fake. It actually did feel real, and it came from the heart. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I love this documentary so far. I saw part 2 when it came out, but only saw half of part 2 when it came out because I was out at the time. But you know, that review's definitely coming. So that was Janet Jackson Part 1, and did you guys enjoy it? Because I definitely did. Being the Janet Jackson fan that I am, actually the Jackson family fan that I am, I felt like that this was a very honest piece of work. You know what I'm saying? Away from what somebody else would write. You feel me? Because, yeah, a lot of people like to make documentaries about the Jackson family without even knowing the Jackson family. We get it straight from her mouth. From their mouth. And, yeah, that was the documentary. I hope you guys enjoyed it. These are my big takeaways and my review of the documentary. Great. Fantastic. And also, I don't know why we don't hear much of LaToya, which I have an idea why we don't, but we don't hear anything about LaToya throughout this whole film, it seemed like, except for the DeBarge's older brother, you know, liking her. But we don't hear much about LaToya. Everybody else we kind of hear a lot about, or at least not a lot, but like, we don't hear about the sister, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder what that's about. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it.